Peace, y'all. We made it. I want to talk about freedom. I want to talk about freedom today. What is freedom? What is freedom? Freedom to me is a choice. Freedom is a choice. Remember when Kanye said that slavery was a choice, right? Freedom is a choice because slavery, and the way we're going to talk about today, is actually a choice. Slave of the mind, the mindset. Okay? You have the freedom. You have the freedom to fail. Think about having the freedom to fail. And I only say the freedom to fail because, speaking for myself, who wants to fail or not be successful in anything? People won't try. We won't even try to achieve to go anywhere outside of our comfort zone and what we're familiar with as fear of failure. Okay, so you don't have the freedom to make a mistake. Okay, what about just look at that? Let's just dive a little bit deeper into having the freedom to make a mistake or having the freedom not to succeed in something. The freedom of judgment, the freedom of the freedom of not necessarily resources, in terms of money or terms of credit or things like that, but the freedom to not be limited to those resources. It's the mindset. And everything here on this channel is going to be mindset. It's going to be awareness. It's going to be inspiration and motivational, but it's going to be actionable. It's the discipline that goes into it. What do I mean? What is the freedom? What is being a slave to your mindset? Being a slave of your mindset is saying I'm only good at certain things. And those certain things was handed to me or inherited by me, so to speak, from, just with the status quo of society. And those things might just be, eating a certain amount of times a day, a certain amount of meals, and eating certain foods a day. And then during the other times is punching in and punching out on the clock at a certain job or a certain industry, right? And these things are instilled or inherited, and it goes with the mindset that we're going to do this for X amount of time, okay? And then you retire, for a couple years, and it's over with. You pass this form and on to the next, or whatever your belief may bring you to. Actionable steps to freedom, okay? One is you have to introduce yourself to the day. And we live 24 hours at a time. This life as we know it is 24 hours at a time, day by day, okay? You have to introduce yourself to the world, and you have to remind yourself throughout your 24 hours on who it is that you are and what it is that you're doing and where is your bank that you're drawing from. Okay, and when I say this bank is the bank of abundance, right? We're withdrawing from the time bank and the bank of abundance. That's the flip, and that's the actionable step to make everything work for you. Okay, freedom is a choice. Freedom is a choice. Slavery is a choice. And the freedom in the slavery is of the mind. And it either has a ceiling or it has none. The roof is off. And it's like, where are we going with it? Okay. You have unlimited potential, I want to say possibilities, right? You got an unlimited amount of potential possibilities. And these things are, let's just qualify them as thoughts or ideas, right? Now you have a thought or idea, and that thought and idea is tied to a vision, okay? And you, so to speak, you think of it as if, um, in order, how was it? I heard this. In order for you, in order for you to achieve it, someone else, you have to take it from someone else. And shout out, I want to say that was Myron Golden, I believe, right? In order for you to achieve it, that you have to stop someone else from achieving it, okay? And that's just not the case, because if, I like to use this for example, I like okra. And okra is a fruit. It's like a vegetable. It's slimy. It's a superfood. You can put it in water, let it sit, and it becomes an alkaline water. Hydrates you, digests you. You got plenty. The upsides is crazy, and you can also cook it and eat it. I can eat it any kind of way. Most 9 times out of 10, when I ask someone do they like okra, no one likes the okra. So if I was to call the store and ask them if they had okra, and they said, well, we just put a couple out, it's only a few, that race to get the okra is probably not even, it's a race against, it's me versus me to get there. I say that to say your vision, your unique vision, you, and your thought and your idea is unique to you. We're running the race, and this illusion that there's this mass amount of competition is is flawed. How would you know that I like okra and I'm going to the store for okra? It might be 1,000 people going to the grocery store. Not everybody's going to get the okra. And just because everyone's in the produce section doesn't mean that they're going there. I say that to say we apply this to, and it's actionable. You set a destination in your GPS and you work the system or develop a system to get you there. Adjust as you may. Things may require a adjustment from time to time, but your job is to remind the day on who you are. And like Soul like to say, shout out Soul, and where you're going. I wouldn't have thought in my, I couldn't imagine, like, this thing is fun when you think about it. Like, just look at the options. Like, everything has to work for you. We're not limited in any. If you choose it right. If you choose it right, you choose freedom. You choose not to be a slave of what someone else's fears, or place someone else's fears on yourself and what they think that you should do or be able to do. And this is a spiritual thing. Language and communicating with people is spiritual. Shout out Ross. Shout out John Ross. You know what I'm saying? This is a spiritual thing. When you're dealing with finances and dealing with communication, these things is all spiritual things, because when someone's money ain't right, they're not right. If they're putting limits and they're qualifying themselves with the money and the abundance. Now, the flip side of that is not ever knowing what money was. So if you never known what money was and ever had money, you shouldn't be limited to anything that has to really do with money, because you never had it. You understand? So it's a choice. You could choose to be withdraw from the lack bank, or you're going to choose to withdraw from the bank of abundance. And once you decide, it's done. The ability to arrive at a decision, and you choose freedom, and you decide that there is no other outcome outside of being fulfilled, and I choose the abundance, from the withdrawal from the abundance bank on the freedom side. And once you decide that that's the path we're going, that door, the other door closes. because then we open this one, and we're going that way, and we're going down that path, and then that journey is its own ride, and we just work it. You develop a system and work it. You know, make good choices. You make good choices. I always tell my kids that. Make good choices. And then once you decide, you develop the ability to arrive at a decision, to make a decision. And it's over with. I hope everybody has a truly wonderful, great everything. Peace.